Oh, now we're gonna get the hose at the end of this attic. See, again, I want to step on this, right? So we're here in another attic. Name's Josh. So right now I've used this V here to travel along, put my knee on the one, and it actually works really nicely. There's no mold. You can see on the sheet which year this was made. Can't really tell though, but it's definitely very good plywood sheathing still, so that's nice to see. Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah, this model, you gotta hit it a little bit harder so the staples go in. Oh, now we're gonna get the hose at the end of this attic. See, again, I want to step on this, right? You gotta watch your step. Never put pressure until you know 100% that it's a support beam or a truss or any sort of wood support. So if you're doing this yourself, you want to know where your lights are. You know, make marks so that you're safe. And then walk around and you can put little flags, because obviously this is something that you can do, and because you're only going to really do it once, hopefully. For me, I gotta be very careful because we're doing multiple jobs, so I just get used to walking around and being efficient. So we got this remote here that we're gonna, yeah, we're good with the hose. Is the machine started? So this is the remote. This is to turn it on. This is to fill up the hose with insulation or to empty it. And this is also to turn it off. So we got ourselves a wireless one. The rental machine, I think, has all these buttons right on the actual hose itself, so it just makes it easier for you. Started with the installation of the material, and so this is a 3-inch hose. I usually use a 4-inch hose, so this is going to be a little bit of slower of an installation, but that's okay. I prefer these for the top-ups, or the you know, adding insulation to existing homes, because now you have a better control of where you're going to install the insulation, and then you have less of a chance to, I have less of a chance to block the vents and have to blow them out again. So yeah, these I don't particularly, I'm not worried about these external the side vents like you see here, because the 2x4s actually prevent me from see how it just fills right up, so I'm not too worried about that. There's enough venting here, like you can see it's shooting out the sides there because I'm shooting right onto the vents. So that's my technique to so that there's still some airflow even after I I install the loose fill insulation. So you shoot right against it like this, and then the material actually gets installed on both ends nicely. But you always want to face the cavities that you're installing. It just makes it that much easier for you, and also prevents you from covering your vents, like I've explained. So you want to make sure that you understand where your mark is for your venting, to know how high you're gonna put your loose fill that you're gonna install. You gotta get those that perimeter installed first. There you go. Once both sides are done, then you can turn around and you can match this side and this side together. It's going to make a nice line for you, and then you're going to have a nice uniform installation, and then you repeat that throughout your attic. So there's one verification that I do all the time is I look on this part of the truss so that everything is even across the board, like across here and down the line. And then I'll verify also the middle here, and then the other piece of cavity, or sorry, the opening on the truss this way as well, just to make sure that everything is installed nice and uniform, just like that. And then I can sort of play around on this opening here as well, make sure there's extras in between the trusses, because when you're shooting this way, it's here, I'll show you. So if you're shooting against the truss here, just like so, this is going to be a little bit slower. Right here. Then you see how the other side isn't really getting the insulation. So that's why I start off by shooting parallel with the cavity, like so. And then after that, you want to get some height to really shoot over the other side, because you see right even on this side here, right there's a little low spot. So I'm just adding some there. I always look for those because I know the restrictions on angles. You always got to look on different angles to make sure that every little nook and cranny is covered with this loose fill, especially when you're doing your own house, right? You want to get that done right the first time. So you see how I didn't get these sections here by looking at it, so then I can just kind of play the angles, make sure everything's covered. You always want to keep a distance from where you're shooting as far as you can. The reach, I'm not sure about the rental machine, but this 3-inch, I mean, you can still shoot definitely like 8 feet farther than, right? Like, I mean, look at the range on this thing, right? It shoots quite far, and you want to angle the hose upward a little bit so that the new material just falls on to the old stuff, and then it fluffs it up really nice, doesn't compress it, so that you get a good performance of your material. So while I'm going forward, I always check with my tape measure that's in my pocket to see, okay, you know, I want to get this line up here, so it's a good marker. I'm used to a faster output, so this is actually a nice change also. So what I'm going to do here, I see this bathroom fan. Gonna stop the hose for a sec, and I'm gonna get my hose right into the cavity here, because typically those are the weak points here of your attic, right in here. So I'm gonna make sure that's all filled up nicely. Back her up. Make sure the other side of that bathroom fan is nicely covered so that there's no mold growth. It's got a higher it would have a higher resistance then for for your vapor to penetrate the attic, especially if you're not opting to remove the old insulation. Then you have to definitely be careful on those spots. You know, if you're going to do this stuff yourself, obviously the Cadillac solution is to remove the old insulation and then to air seal the plumbing lines, right? And then your electrical that's passing through the top plate, the interior walls. So get all those sealed up nicely with a can of spray foam, and then you don't have some major heat loss areas. For this homeowner, they didn't go for that option, but I mean that's okay. You know, it's one of those things where it's there's different levels, and we explain to them like the pros and cons. But that's my recommendation is to definitely remove the old stuff, and then so that you can see where your areas are that you can seal up, like any holes. I see them often in those plumbing vents, right where it goes into the house, right around there. Especially older homes, they don't have those sealed up, and there's a big hole. So, you know, back then in the code, it was different from today. They learned from different examples, and then they improved the insulation. So that's why today you've got houses that are Energy Star rated, all that good stuff. They do the test, they do that vacuum test. So they bring a fan, and they have a positive pressure, a really big positive pressure built into the house, and then you can see how much air leakage is happening. So they do that, and then you can identify where your weak spots are from literally just the draft. I think there's even machines that it produces vapor, so then you can follow the vapor and it'll exit on those weak points. So, but again, that's extra cost. But if you're somebody that can afford that, then definitely go for it. When I move further away, I'm actually dragging the hose with me. And so that's another technique to kind of get rid of the hose simultaneously, right? So now I can go back to that middle section there, which is now doesn't have any more hose, and then I can install the loose fill properly. Right, I can go back, and I don't have to shut the machine off. That's one of my tricks to being an efficient installer. You always plan your next move, so that helps you out. You save time, because especially if you're going to be doing this in the summer, it's going to be really, really hot. This is actually a very ideal time of the year to do it, because you know, you think that it's going to be really, really cold because it's winter time, but in actual fact, when you open up that attic hatch, you have huge heat loss, obviously, because that's your opening, and then there's all this warm air coming from inside the house that's actually warming up the attic for you. So that's pretty nice. It's your own personal heater. Obviously, it gets cold in the house. Well, not that bad, but yeah. So, and then if you do it just before January, then you're going to avoid that season where there's a lot of icicles, and you're going to avoid a lot of problems, because you're going to identify the areas like bathroom fans that may need to be checked and reconnected and air sealed properly, so that you don't have further mold growth on the underside of your roof. Then the underside of your roof becomes weaker, and during a massive windstorm, then you potentially lose shingles in that area because your roof sheathing is now weakened because of the mold. So that's just my 2 cents on that. So take that, take that to the bank. This looks nice and uniform here. I'm just gonna build this right up to where I want it to go. Middle part's a little low, so I'm gonna shoot over. There you go. Fill this little area here before I go further. Everything is nice and uniform. But you always twist the hose to help you out with those awkward angles. So you don't necessarily have to move yourself, you just kind of go on an angle and twist the hose this way. The hose is flexible, so you can use that to your advantage as well when you're installing your own loose fill insulation. On my channel I've got other good videos on ventilation, on roof ventilation, so definitely check those out. I go into detail about these perimeter vents, or these more vents, and how many you should have, as well as I'm going, I just get my own opinion just based on my experience for even these roof vents here. I talk about those as well, and bathroom fans, as well as sort of air sealing tips. Definitely check those out. And for this video, you give that nice thumbs up to support this channel, to let YouTube know that you've enjoyed this, because if you're still watching, then that means that you're definitely enjoying this video and walkthrough. So hit that thumbs up button, and we'll see you in the next video. So I'll give a nice shot once I'm all done as to the finished product. We'll move over to the other attic, and I'll give a before and after shot, so you have an idea as to what else was in this house. Alright, so we're just gonna finish this off. I'm lowering the speed a little bit, but again, I'm not 100% sure if you can do that for the rental machines, but that's definitely a good thing to do for this machine here. Just get all this nicely done. Good height right across the board. It's a little tricky, obviously, around the attic hatch. This technique here is called cupping. So I get right in. So I raised the attic hatch border here with some sheets of R20, just to get my height and some flexibility as well, to be able to sort of move the sheet around. You know, it all depends on the type of attic that you've got, but sometimes it can be done with cardboard, and it's cheaper, obviously, but sometimes it can't. Like the existing attic hatch here border was not very secure, so that's why I went for the sheets. So this is going to take a little bit longer, but I'm just going to have to fill right around that pipe here. Hopefully I won't hit my floodlight. There you go. You try your best, obviously, not to do cupping, or else right now you're crushing a little bit, compressing the loose fill that's coming out of the hose. So it's not fully, that's not entirely ideal, but I don't really have a choice here because I want to have it installed really close to me, so that's why I do the cupping sometimes. Get right in that middle section. Uh-oh, now we're gonna hit that floodlight, but you get the point. And then we're gonna empty the hose and go to the next attic. And there's attic number 2, right here.